Afternoon, everybody, and a happy Valentine's Day here at Miller's Ale House on a fabulous Wednesday afternoon. It is stunningly gorgeous outside for a change.
It is.
It's very nice. My name is Chuck Burge. We're here with the three guys who love sports, and this show is because we have friends, Steve Pearson in particular, a good friend of mine that is suffering from prostate cancer, and we want to help take his mind off what he's going through. At least an hour a week, and if we help somebody for an hour a week and you help somebody, if we all do a little, nobody has to do a lot.
That's it.
You
That's
like
it.
that?
Well, just heard a story a little bit ago about somebody who took their own life, and you can only try to help somebody who needs help, and so whether it be prostate or mental anguish or whatever the heck it is, just be a decent person today and listen or
And
do
love
something.
somebody.
Do
I love you, Robert. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, you know what my wife said to me right as I was leaving the house?
What's
she
that?
She said, "Hey, have a great Valentine's Night Day with Chuck and Larry." I'm not sure she really was as sincere as she came across.
As she came across? Yeah, probably not.
Because, I mean, she was selling it hard.
Well, good for Stormy. So, so we're here on a fabulous Wednesday at Miller's Ale House, as we always are. We are joined today by a very special guest.
You might recognize his voice.
You might recognize his voice, but you're not going to recognize his face. I don't think you've ever been on camera, have you?
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
once or
some
twice.
of the early ones I did some ads and
Oh, did you?
I would
He,
came.
he also did one picture thing where he did this, where he's like looking at the camera trying to fix it.
It's Larry the engineer, Larry Block, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Larry can't cue up the applause, so we'll do it from here. So we're happy to have Larry with us on this Valentine's night. A lot of lovers out celebrating. Caitlin and Ryan, they could have been on the show, but no, look at them.
They could have been contenders.
They could have been contenders, but they're just sitting up at the bar.
That's the Bowery Bums. He could have been a contender.
Yeah, and they're getting all these fabulous drinks here at Miller's. And Robert, what did you get tonight? The quesadillas
I
again,
went with
right?
the chicken quesadilla. Last time I had to do a lot of pulling because I have the attention span and diet restrictions of a 6-year-old person. So once I scraped everything off, it was delicious. I think it's going to be even better today when I don't have to.
There you go. Larry, how about you?
I ordered the calamari.
Calamari.
I haven't had in a while.
That good old squid.
Yeah.
Good old squid.
And I'm in a rut here. I got the Mimi's Fiesta Bowl without the shrimp, but it is really, really good. I mean, it's become my favorite. It used to be the chicken lime, cilantro lime chicken, but it's kind of been replaced.
But is it a rut if you're enjoying it? If it's working for you and it's working for her, is it a rut?
No, I think it's a... Who's the her?
The chicken, I guess.
Oh, I guess. Mimi's
Mimi,
Fiesta Bowl, yeah. No, I guess it's not. So
Yeah.
happy about that. So very happy to be at Miller's, as always, with our favorite bartender, Sean DeFils. Sean's awesome. All right, let's get into some sports. Of course, we had a pretty big event happen this past Sunday called the
Horse
Super
race?
Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Tell me more.
Like, does he drive a car? Oh, wait, that's different.
Was it love at first sight? Tell me more.
I love that movie until I realized it was 40-year-olds playing teenagers. Good football game. Really good football game. Robert and I texted a little bit after the game and started out fairly slow. Couldn't believe that Kansas City had like 26 yards in the first quarter. I said, wow.
They didn't have much more than that in the first half.
No, they did not. It was not good. It was not looking good until Harrison Butker kicked a field goal and got them on the board. So very excited about that.
I remember the last Super Bowl that the Buffalo Bills had in the early 90s. They were playing in Atlanta versus the Cowgirls, and we were up 13-3 at halftime. And being a Bills fan, everybody kept coming up to me at halftime, and they're like, you're doing it. And I kept looking at them going, but if you watch the first half, it should have been 27-3. And that's kind of how I felt about this game. San Francisco dominated the whole way, but that McCaffrey fumble inside the 10 and just a couple other things, that was a game that shouldn't have been that close, but was.
Yeah, and it was usually the other way around. The last two San Francisco games, they were behind.
Correct.
And but I think now in all three games that Mahomes has trailed by 10, they've come back and won.
He's the best.
He is, isn't he?
And I've thought that for a while now. You know, I hate Bud Chin Brady, and he's great. He's a gamer and everything else, but he doesn't have that it factor. You know, this guy throws it like Favre or like, you know, I mean, you know, he's doing anything and everything, and he's it.
He is it, and the thing is, if he wants to be it, he can be it for a long time. He's 28 years old. Yeah. How many think you wind up with, Larry? I mean, he's got 3 now in the first 6 years of his career. I mean, let's see if he gets 3 every 6 years. He's going to be up there.
No, I think things are going to have to change. I mean, this is the NFL. You're not going to be able to sustain it for that kind of.
But the Patriots did it.
Yeah, but I think he's going to beat Brady. I think he's going to get at least 8.
Do you? Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's strong.
Yeah.
Now, do you believe that Kansas City is now a dynasty because of what they've done?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when you have 3 over that short amount of time, and not to mention they've got 3 wins and they did lose 1 as well. So
Yeah.
4 Super Bowls
4
in the
Super
last
Bowls.
6 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty good stuff. I don't know about 8. 8 seems really strong, but
Well, we're talking till the end of his career.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
If he
but,
plays as long as Brady did, yeah. But it's you know, to Robert's point, San Francisco was blowing them out in the first period or first quarter, first half, and they still only were up 10-0.
correct.
Like you said, McCaffrey's fumble.
Should have been 17-0 or 21-3 at
It
halftime or
it
something
felt
like
like
that.
it should have been, if not worse.
Or not, if not worse.
Yeah.
If not worse.
Yeah. And, you know, they Shanahan fired Steve Wilkes today, the defensive coordinator. Did you see that?
The defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I don't know why. He called a heck of a game.
because if you are Shanahan, you better start casting shadows and blame in every
somebody other than
in
yourself?
every other direction. Because let me tell you, if ever there was a guy who clearly is an incredible coach, let's give him his due. How many great coaches, you know, have never made it to a Super Bowl? Think about how many. You know, there's a long list. He's now made it to 3. Now, he's had second half leads in all 3 of those games. So I don't know what you want to say about his Super Bowl performance, but, you know.
Does that include his collapse in Atlanta?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
3, and I have to give him credit for that because he was the offensive guru who gave us that 28-3 lead.
Yep.
Without him, we don't
Have the
that
lead. Yeah, that's crazy. It was really a good game. I mean, Mahomes, when he had to, he made it happen with his legs. That 4th and 1 call was incredible. I mean, I guess we knew it was going to be some type of RPO. But, I mean, he got out there in the corner, and if the guy had come after him, he'd have just tossed it over to Kelsey.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's funny. And we'll talk a little bit about Kelsey's blow up. But what was funny was there were 2 other plays where Kelsey looked like he was upset. It was the long pass to LVS. Is that it? VLS, whatever
Yeah.
his name is. And
Valdes-Scantling.
Yeah, when there were 2 people on him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look back off to the side,
There's Big
Travis is
87.
standing there saying, "I'm wide open."
Well, because one of the guys who was on
dropped off
Valdez
to cover him.
Correct.
Yeah. But then he was all happy when Valdes-Scantling made the catch, and then of course when I don't know if you noticed it or not, but when Hardman caught the touchdown pass, Travis was already standing over there going like this before he ever threw the ball.
Right.
I mean, they knew. And
That's the whole-
I actually saw a clip where Mahomes was actually, you could hear him calling the play, and he goes, George, it's good. He knew before they snapped that ball that ball game was over.
Correct, because Andy Reid is so good.
Andy Reid is that good, yeah.
You know, they just have plays and they're like, you know, this one's going to work. We've been holding this one for a while. Let's break it out.
Yeah.
And it works every time.
So Hardman came in and broke back out, and the guy went with Kelsey, and it left him wide open. It was a little bit of a rub, but not much of one. I mean, Kelsey didn't touch the guy,
There's always a rub. There's always a pick play.
but it was awesome, even if it was a bulldog that caught it. And that, Larry, I hate to say this, because Larry's a big Bulldog fan, but it really pissed me off that everybody got on Facebook and said, you know what? A Bulldog caught the touchdown to win the Super Bowl. And I wrote back and said, well, you know what? My 81-year-old brother could have caught that pass.
Yeah.
He was wide open. Wasn't throwing more than 5 yards. And not only that, a Georgia Tech kicker kicked 4 field
That's
goals,
what I was
including the longest field goal in Super Bowl history to set them up. So what are you so excited about?
How about the rookie from San Francisco, Moody, bangs out the big 54-yarder, all-time leader,
All-time
for about
leader.
a minute and a half.
And here comes
And then
Butker,
he kicked
baby.
another 50-yarder. I got a buddy whose last name is Moody, and he went on Facebook and he said something about like, well, no matter what happens, there's a Moody in the record book. And a minute later, somebody's like, well, not anymore. There's not. But
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
So what were your thoughts on Kelsey's little moment with Andy Reid?
What you got?
I thought his emotions got the best of him. It's the Super Bowl. He wants to win.
Last game of the year.
Yes, last game of the year. I think that they've got a good enough relationship that it's not a problem.
I don't think it was an issue at all. I mean, I've been in those cases. I've yelled at the kids that I coached basketball at. I mean, yelled at them, and I told them at the beginning of the year, and I told their parents.
Chuck's not allowed to be a big brother anymore.
I said, I am going to yell at you, but I'm not yelling at you because I'm mad. I'm yelling at you because I want you to learn. And then if you're not listening, you're not learning, and I want you to learn. But after the game, it doesn't mean I'm not going to still love you and think the world of you. And I think that's the relationship that they have.
Yeah.
And I think that's Andy Reid, to Robert's point. He's that good of a coach. He's so well balanced.
I think Kelsey
Other than he almost got knocked on his ass, but
I
that
think
was a different story.
that's it. I think Kelsey took one step too much. If Kelsey just runs up and just starts yelling, that's one thing. But when there's contact and there's yelling, I had a gentleman in my office earlier today, African American fellow, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, I'm going to talk about this later today." And AJ Brown had a tweet. I don't know if either one of you were lucky.
I did
enough
not
to
see
it.
that.
And I don't know if lucky's the right word, but AJ Brown just basically said, what would happen if that was me?
Yeah.
And, if there was a large wide receiver diva who runs up and, he's an African-American guy, is he, oh, man, he's okay. He's just letting them know, holy moly, that guy looks like he's out of control. And that was, the double standard. And the gentleman today told me, he said, no, it's a Hall of Fame thing. Once you're a Hall of Famer, you're allowed to yell at other people. Said it definitely wasn't. But I personally thought, there was definitely a little bit of, luckily both people were white. If there was one black, one white, and it was this way or that way or anything else, or I thought the situation could have gone way away, but it wasn't. And
Well, if they would have lost, it would have been a lot uglier. I believe that. But I look at it as two people that are passionate about what they're doing, and I heard that a couple of minutes later that Kelsey came over and hugged him and said he was sorry, and I didn't see that on tape, but I believe it. I mean, I don't think it's a race thing at all. I think it's just two guys that were passionate about what they're trying to do. And I guess we'll never know what he actually said because I've heard so many different stories. It wasn't "I love you," but I basically said, "Give me the ball."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what you
I
want
can
your
score,
gamers
give
to
me the
have.
ball. Absolutely.
It's the Super Bowl. We're going to be off for the next 7 months, so you can't throw it to me next weekend. Let's get something going here. And to Kelsey's point, they were getting drubbed at that point. They weren't looking good.
And he was wide open on that play before. The couple plays before when they actually threw to LVS
Yeah.
or MVS or whoever the hell he is. Marquez Vaz, Scanling Valdez.
Yeah, I think
or
it's
whatever.
MVS.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But he was in an LV, Las Vegas.
Yeah,
LV,
that's true. Yeah, but man, what a great job LV did hosting this.
I was reading something just a couple days before the game. They were talking about a Super Bowl. It was like 15 to 20 years ago, and they said that the NFL actually turned Vegas down and said, we're not going to air a commercial that says come to Vegas.
Yeah.
So, how far have we come to where now all of a sudden we've got a team in Vegas, we're having Super Bowls in Vegas. 15 years ago, the NFL wouldn't even have a commercial from Vegas.
No, it's crazy. And, Goodell was all glowing about everything that went on there. So pretty cool. We're going to do a Alvin Jameson commercial. Then we're going to get back and talk a little bit about Kyle Shanahan and did he make the right decision on overtime taking the ball.
Hey, Alvin Jameson here, the mortgage guy. Are you looking to get pre-approved for a home loan? Or maybe you want to build a house from the ground up? Are you curious, or better yet, is your significant other on your back about making renovations in your current home? Call me. I have options for you. All self-employed individuals. Are you torn between writing off all your income or having to show your income to qualify for a house? I have a third alternative for you. Whether you're a W-2 employee, self-employed individual looking to do a purchase or pull money out of your current house, or better yet, we can't forget the investors out there. If you have that high interest rate, hard money loan, and looking to refinance out of it, again, give me a call. I have options. Below are the states that I'm personally licensed in. Call me, 404-587-9033. Again, 404-587-9033. Visit the website, alvinjameson.com.
Always bad mouthing the
Are we
local
back?
teams.
Well, what happened to the countdown, Larry?
He was doing it. You weren't watching.
Oh, okay. Alvin Jameson, thank you for being a sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports. Chuck Burge again here with my buddy Robert Kinney and our engineer Larry the Block. And we are moving forward. Talking a little bit about the Super Bowl and a little curious about what you guys think about, did Kyle Shanahan make the right decision? You know, a lot of the press reports and some of the players from San Francisco, they didn't know what was going on for overtime.
Most people didn't.
But then Chris Jones got on the NFL Network set and said, we've been talking about it all week till I was sick of it. And he said, yeah, we knew exactly what was going on. So, coach's decision, what do? You take the ball, Larry, or do you kick it away?
I still think you take the ball. I think you still want it in your hands and get that touchdown.
But still doesn't matter.
Yeah, they didn't
Mahomes
do
still
it,
gets
but-
the shot.
Yeah, they're going to, in the playoffs. And I thought they made it clear throughout the playoffs that, any time a game even came close to overtime, they
talked about it. Yeah.
They told us the new rules.
Yeah.
So, I always knew they were both going to get a shot.
Well, I'm not sure that everybody knew this rule because I was watching the post-game interviews with the NFL Network, and Maurice Jones-Drew was on there, and he said, there's only 3 seconds left. And I didn't even know if they were going to get a playoff.
No, but there was a lot of people waiting for a 2-minute warning.
Yeah,
That didn't
2-minute warning, that
happen.
didn't happen.
The end of the thing. Why aren't they doing something different?
Yeah, he thought it was going to be over in 3 seconds, but no, it would just become the second quarter of a new game.
I'll tell you this as far as decision making. That is the only NFL playoff game where you will ever, and I do mean ever. I'm not speaking hypothetically on whatever. 100%, you will never see another team ever take the ball again. It'll never happen. And when they, if anybody ever questions it, this is the Super Bowl. This is the formula of why you don't do it. Because what ended up happening was you gave the greatest quarterback, as we've already agreed in the world,
4 downs.
4 downs to drive down the field. Hey, what is it? It's at the 32. It doesn't matter. He knows he's got to go down the field. I texted a buddy of mine. I was like, is there any doubt? I mean, I have zero doubt that he is going to at least kick a field goal. I mean, the only thing that could be in doubt is a touchdown. Outside that, this team is going to score. And I was very unimpressed.
If no
with
turnover.
everything.
The turnover was the only thing that I was concerned about. Would they turn the ball over? And I know he would.
No, but anything can happen. You're absolutely right. Balls bounce funny ways. But I'd like to say this as a Falcons and Bills fan: this playoff scenario is because of me, because the Falcons lost the Super Bowl in overtime, and everybody complained that they never got a chance to have the ball. And then last year, my Buffalo Bills lost after being up with 13 seconds left, and it went to overtime. And they said, oh, man, they could have done it if they'd had the ball. So this solution was created for poor crying people like myself, and it stunk. It was awful. I don't like this at all. This reminded me of a college or a 7th grade game to where there was no urgency. It's the overtime in Super Bowl. There's got to be some urgency. And man, cool as the other side of the pillow, Mahomes, he's just hanging out. There was no urgency, and he didn't need to.
Didn't have to.
Correct, and that's what the game lost with that new thing. I hope they do something. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a 1 15-minute period, which would have changed things a lot because they would have started calling different plays, trying to be more aggressive. Nobody thought he'd score with 3 seconds left, but you got to do something because, like I said, it was. You know they're going to score, right?
It's like when we lost to the Patriots in the overtime. I was at a party. It was 28 or whatever, and I looked at Bobby and I said, "If the Patriots win the coin toss, I'm leaving." And he did, and I was gone because I knew we'd never see the ball again. We couldn't stop anything in the second half. So Shanahan's whole rationale was thinking about the third. He was thinking about the third possession, is what he said.
Yeah. He's wrong.
Yeah, you can't think that far ahead. Yeah.
He didn't understand. You'd have to be a, pardon my French, jackass to say I want the ball based on the third possession.
Yeah.
Because that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, because and Patrick Mahomes said when he was being interviewed from Disney World or Disneyland, I don't know if you heard this or not, and he said, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't say what Coach Ryan." What's Coach Reed? Coach Reed said, but we were going for 2. He said if Kansas City, San Francisco scored a touchdown and we came down and got a touchdown, we were going for 2
to end the game.
Yeah. So there would have been no third possession.
Well, there you go. And once again, you've watched it play out in college football. If you take the ball to second, if a field goal is going to tie, a field goal is going to win, if you need the touchdown. But then you get that extra down. 4th down is no longer a punting down. When you think back to the start of overtime, there was a 4th down play where the Niners were stopped, and there was a flag that nobody saw. It was a defensive holding, 5-yard automatic.
3rd and 14, and I hated that. I thought that was a poor call.
But had it been vice versa, you'd have still gone. They would have had to punt the ball. If that 5-yard penalty doesn't happen, they're punting the ball, and now Mahomes only needs a field goal. There's just so much that you lose in that very first possession.
And Butker kicks a field goal, and he becomes the MVP.
But
with 5 field goals.
I'd like to throw in a vote for CMC. It's only happened one time where a player on the losing team won. Chuck Howley, Super Bowl 5,
Dallas Cowboys. Yep.
And CMC was the only person who had good numbers. If he didn't have that fumble, they'd have won the game. And I understand why you don't give it to him based on that. But when you just look at the numbers, clearly he dominated, and nobody else did.
I was very surprised at the number of yards that Mahomes threw for because it just didn't seem like 333 yards. And he ran for 66. So the guy almost accounted for 400 yards, so I understand why he got the MVP. But the one thing that really pissed me off was nobody interviewed Harrison Butker. This guy kicked 4 field goals to keep him in the game, the longest field goal in Super Bowl history, and not one media outlet talked to him. I saw him up on stage, and every time Patrick talked, he said, of course, we got Butker kicking them in from 70, but nobody ever talked to Harrison. I just didn't get it.
Both those kickers deserve take your hat off to them. Those were some pressure. The rookie hit the guy in the helmet on the extra point. Who knows how that plays out as far as.
I actually wrote Jim Nantz on his Instagram page, and I said, could you please tell me why nobody interviewed Harrison Butker? I haven't got a response from Jim yet, but I thought I just had to do it. So,
yeah, obviously he deserved it. He was as clutch gets.
Yep. So Kansas City, they going to three-peat?
I predicted right here 6 weeks ago that the Dolphins were going to go into Arrowhead on the fourth coldest game in NFL history, and then I sure as heck didn't see them going into Buffalo. And man,
Or
now
Baltimore.
they got a head of steam. But Baltimore's putting 40. I said last week, and I'll repeat again: if you ever bet against this group of Chiefs, Reed and Mahomes, we'll just say those two, you're a moron, because they have reached New England and Alabama levels to where if you do win a bet against them, it's a one-time thing. Keep betting and you will
Yeah.
lose your house, because these guys find a way to win.
So the lone wolf last week got it right?
Lone Wolf.
And Larry and I were talking about this before. When we were here last week, the over and under was 47.5, right?
And then it dropped to 47
Or 46.5. But at 47.5, I still got the under right when
No,
we
for-
predicted it.
47. No, it was 47.
Yeah, but when we were on the show, it was 47.5 last week.
Correct.
Yeah, so from that point, I said we're going to hit the under, and I did. But
Right on the nose. But
Yeah.
it goes to show you how good Vegas is on this stuff. You know,
Oh,
and you can look
absolutely.
at it and go, there's no way that they could have predicted 9 points would be scored in overtime. You're right, they couldn't, but they still hit the number on the head.
and Vegas took a bath from everything that I read.
Oh yeah, they did.
Vegas can really only take a bath if the line moves a lot, and because the line only moved a half a point for the spread itself and 1 point for the over/under, they might not have done well, but it's okay. The 79 Super Bowl where it went from 4.5 to 3.5, that was a game that they took a bath on.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of taking a bath,
Oh, Lord. There's an intro I'm getting
I
nervous
thought
about.
Usher was going to take one when he took off his shirt, and then
Hey,
I thought the pants were next. So,
let me just
what
say-
did you think about the halftime show?
Let me just say that if I'm Usher, and how old's Usher? Usher's
45.
45. I was getting ready to say 45. It was a guess. Man, if I had a washboard like that at any point in my life, I'd probably drop my shirt on a semi-regular basis. Hey, why are we at church and why is Robert having a shirt? Look at those abs. Wouldn't you want to show your...
Well, that was one of the bets that you could bet whether he was going to take his shirt off or
One of
not.
the prop bets?
I would have taken
one
that
of the
bet. I would've taken
one
that.
of my buddies took that one.
Did he really? Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I didn't watch that much of it. I went upstairs and ate at halftime. I'm just not a big fan of this glamorized halftime show that they do.
So-
And I know they don't get paid any money. I mean, the NFL pays for the production of the show, but the artist, all he gets is, I heard, $52.5 million of exposure.
No, absolutely. He gets so much exposure. He or she, whoever it is, you're selling all sorts of things after you're on that. So it was awful though. And
I didn't think it was good.
Brandon Wood, I love you, man, and you were all about it. And today's your birthday. Happy birthday! But it was awful when they busted out the rollerblades and everybody starts rollerblading around the thing. I was just like, what is this? This is the most horrendous thing. A halftime act where it's like couples skate, all skate. It just wasn't good.
I didn't like it at all. What little I saw of it, but like I said, I just soon seen a marching band come out and play a couple songs and go home and let's play football.
I thought about this. How about something different? Why's it got to be a singer?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should have Eddie Murphy come out there, whatever have you, but something. There's got to be something else that could be interesting.
Joe Turner, you're coming out there doing a little magic.
That's
or
right.
something. Yeah.
What's that?
Joe Turner, our friend that hosted karaoke, come out and do a little magic and stuff.
There you go. Something.
Penn and
because-
Teller or somebody. Yeah.
'cause
Larry,
we-
your beer's rattling. Is there an earthquake in here? Or?
Because we all know that nobody's actually singing, right?
That's correct.
Everything's recorded, so it's not even like there's an idea that maybe somebody's actually performing. No, nobody's doing anything.
Yeah, you got 14 or 18 minutes, I can't remember which one I read, to get that stage set up and all that stuff. You can't do live vocals with that.
You can't do live vocals because if you're rollerblading, you're not winded. You're so winded you can't sing. The only good thing I had sent something. You had asked on here what was the halftime show we all desired or wanted.
What is your ideal?
It's real easy. It's called Boats and Hose.
Boats and Hoes?
Boats and Hose. Do you guys know Boats and Hose? That's the group from Step Brothers.
Oh, okay.
and John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. That's a halftime show.
Yeah.
But I sent that to a buddy, and it inspired him to go back and start looking up what he thought was the best halftime show. And he said something to me, so then I started looking. Prince. In the pouring rain, doing an electric guitar solo that you can tell he's actually playing, because he's, there's certain things you can't fake and whatever else. That was awesome. Outside that, I don't know why we have it.
I go eat. Like I said, it's just.
I never
Larry,
watched
were you a fan of it? Did you watch it?
No, I usually don't watch the halftime show. The last halftime show I remember watching was when they had the Who.
The Who?
Yeah.
So I think like
1972.
No, it wasn't that long ago.
It was.
so like 90% of women loved it because I guess he took his shirt off and they were going crazy. But I thought it was very split from all the things that I saw on Facebook. But some girls, that was the best halftime show ever. Caitlin, did you watch the halftime show?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did.
Yep, there you go.
Was it his abs?
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
I don't think it.
Also, I love Usher's music.
See, I don't think it takes any talent to grab your crotch and take your shirt off, and that's basically all I got out of the halftime show.
yeah, but
that
you
was
gotta
it.
have abs that look like that.
Yeah.
We're not talking about his butt, Caitlin. Come on now.
I was working. I was rolling silverware, waiting to the shirt off. So I didn't even see that.
Oh, okay.
It was the music. It was the music.
Okay, that's cool. So Caitlin liked the music, but she likes Usher. Yeah.
I did like the fact that they brought Lil Jon and Ludacris out there because without Lil Jon and Ludacris, you really couldn't do the main song.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, go Atlanta. It was a bunch of Atlanta guys. I got no problem with that, but like I said, rollerblading during the Super Bowl halftime.
I can say this: the wings I had were awesome.
There you go.
Linda made the wings, so Linda Clay, thank you for the wings. The other entertainment at the show is always Caitlin, not Caitlin. I got Caitlin on Taylor Swift, who we know that Caitlin just loves. She was telling me before that she's a big Caitlin Swift.
I don't dislike her. I don't. But I don't get the hype.
Taylor gets a lot of hype.
She's probably kind of deserving of most of her hype.
Yeah. Is this a female guy thing too, or is there the Swifties? How many of the 10 million Swifties would you say are females, and how many males?
Oh, I've been considered a Swiftie by many. I've got 2 daughters who are both Swifties, and I know way more than most people. If we started doing Name That Tune, I'd be like, yeah, I know that one. Yeah, I know all the words to that one. So, but I'd like to point this one out as we get ready to drag Taylor behind the school bus.
Through the mud.
Elvis Presley recorded 608 songs in his storied career. How many of those songs did he write, Larry?
I don't think any of them.
Zero.
Yeah.
Not
Zero.
one time did the guy ever get inspired to write something and put a pen. Taylor has written every song, and then she's
even rewritten some of them.
Her entire catalog was bought for $500 million, and she figured out a way to where she can redo those same songs using tape that was made at that point. She's borderline brilliant, is what she is.
Yeah, she's. Do you have any problem with her and Travis?
Not at all. I think when you get in a weird, famous type thing, there's only a few people you can date. There's always been a famous person. I'm trying to think of one of the.
How about Aaron Rodgers and Danica Patrick?
There you go, or every other person Aaron Rodgers has ever dated. What's the girl who played Daisy Duke? Not Catherine Bach, but in the movie.
I don't have a clue.
Jessica Simpson.
Oh, Jessica Simpson.
Jessica Simpson. Her and Britney Spears both tried to date a guy like
Tony Romo, wasn't
it? They did, but they also at one point decided I'm going to go back to my high school sweetheart because that was just love back then. You can't do it. So when you're super famous, you need somebody else that's super famous who is used to all that isn't going to get scared away. And so I think they're good for each other.
I read a lot of stuff about the body language of when they met at the end of the game, after the Super Bowl, And they said, yeah, she's really in love with this guy. I mean, touching his stomach, that shows this, and putting their hands up on his face, that shows this, and all that stuff. So my whole thing is, like Paul McCartney said, let it be. Just let them be. I don't have to have 6 million people tell me how much they hate Taylor Swift because she's just doing it for the exposure. I think she genuinely loves the guy.
Well, and once again, if you're the most famous person on the planet, probably currently, she doesn't need any exposure. She's not doing anything
My point exactly.
to suck in a couple extra. It's like our almost guest Caitlin said. Well, clearly, no, this guy's been winning Super Bowls and Super Bowl. He's already the best tight end ever. He doesn't need it. She doesn't need it.
They don't need each other for publicity.
But man, I cannot wait. And I'm not trying to jinx this, but man, when it goes south and she writes the Super Bowl album of how much fun she had with this and how much fun she had, oh my goodness, I can't wait for it.
Well, I'll say this: I have never heard a Taylor Swift song, and I couldn't tell you one of her songs.
And you
Not
have,
one.
you've heard plenty of them. You just
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
No,
because
I
you go
genuinely
to,
have not.
But you go to places like Publix, Chuck, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you. It's everywhere. She's been making music for 16 years. You're
I was
wrong.
surprised how long she's been. No, I'm not.
No, you are. You're clearly not even.
I know every song they play at Publix because I sing along to it when I'm walking down the aisles. But I do not know one Taylor Swift song.
You don't know that you know a Taylor Swift song. That's the difference.
The next time I hear one, if I
won't
hear
know
one,
it.
I will let you know.
You won't know it.
No, because I'll ask somebody, say, "Hey, is this Taylor Swift?" And the
They'll be
funniest,
like, no, this is
the funniest meme I saw today
Dua Lipa.
was Travis Kelce's number 87 because she was his 87th boyfriend, her 87th boyfriend. I said that's pretty funny.
I sent this picture to my daughter right before the
Oh
Super
wait,
Bowl.
Larry. Yeah. Go Taylor's boyfriend. Yeah, I saw something like
Nice red
Taylor
and yellow.
Swift is boyfriend is playing. Is going to be at Usher's concert today or something like that.
Absolutely,
I saw that.
absolutely. But yeah, her music. There's no way you could get around it.
Yeah.
If you've watched any murder whodunits, they're playing it on that.
I haven't. I'm telling you, as much as I love you, I've got to argue with this. I have never heard a Taylor Swift song ever.
But that's
Well,
it.
Chuck, it's funny. I heard my first one not too long ago.
Yeah.
With all this, it came on the radio, so I turned it on, and I really didn't like it.
There you go.
I don't mind following her and Travis and all that, but
I heard
it's
she's
just not
very talented in terms of writing. Kenny
I'm not
Chesney even
I
said so.
didn't
Yeah.
particularly like the music.
Yeah.
I think we should just stop talking about it because you're not going to like my next word for you. Because there's no way that you haven't heard one. That's all they play on the radio for the last
But
16
I don't listen
years.
to the radio. I listen
But
to sports talk.
You go to restaurants where people play the jukebox. You listen to this. You ride in somebody else's car. You go to a hospital where they play music.
I
They
can't tell
play
you.
her
I'm with
music
you. I
I can't
everywhere.
tell you the last time I've been in anybody else's car.
All the other things are facts, and it's been 16 years. You've been riding in somebody else's car as well.
Can we just agree to disagree?
No, because
No.
it's ignorant to think that you.
Is that the
don't-
word you're going to use?
It
The
is.
ignorant? Okay.
It is.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you this. If I hear some and I say, oh, God, I have heard that before, I will be the first person to come to Robert on my knees and say, buddy,
Don't
I
come on
apologize.
don't come on your knees. This is bad already with Taylor Swift.
All right. So let's do American Access commercial.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, bachelor or bachelorette party, or somewhere new to take those out-of-town guests, American Access has 3 Atlanta locations in Marietta, Tucker, and now in downtown at the Works. Each and every location is conveniently and not coincidentally located next to a brewery. Look us up at American Access or give us a call at 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
And thank you, Dan Fisher, for being a sponsor of the 3 Guys Who Love Sports. And you know what's really funny, Robert? We've been talking sports for 2 years, and that's probably the most heated we've got about it in a conversation.
And
it's
it was about
Taylor
a song.
Swift.
It was about a song. Not even any
Had nothing
music
to do with
involved.
sports. It had about Taylor Swift. That's funny. All right, so we can move on. You know, we've been under this long time project of going through the greatest athletes to ever wear certain jersey numbers.
Long time.
And we
project.
took a break, And
For a long time.
Yeah, we're now back up to 24, and we'll probably be doing this right up till football season again. But we got to 24, and not a lot of great athletes, in my opinion, but some good ones, some really good ones. What do you?
I might have been doing this. I don't know.
'Cause
Not,
I can
not
see-
a lot of great.
Well,
There might be a couple
we're pretty good.
decent guys.
Willie Mays is probably my pick, and Willie was a great athlete. I'll take back that word.
Well, don't take it apart for me.
What are you talking about? So was Kobe? Was that his main number?
Okay, so as Tosh.0 likes to point out, 8 was a rapist. 24 clearly has a great work ethic. So he won 3 as number 8 and 2 as 24.
Yeah.
It's about half of his career. It's the second half of his career. He was 24. They'll tell you all of the things about, they did it because he wanted 24, and 24 was taken when he first got there. But obviously Kobe could have had any number he wanted back then.
Yeah, but Kobe, Willie always had 24, right?
He had a different number for a week and a half.
Yeah.
but that was it. 24 was for a lot of games.
Longevity, and he was around for a long time. Willie played for a long time.
He was with the Birmingham Black Barons.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
That's who Michael Jordan played for, wasn't
Correct. Only he wasn't with the Black Barons. He was
just
with
the
the regular
Barons.
Barons.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But back in the day, they had the Black Barons and the White Barons, the Barons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird
That's cool.
weird how they did that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some decent athletes. Ken Griffey Jr. was a good athlete. Charles Woodson, and we didn't talk about this when we were talking about the NFL, but I sat over the weekend and watched some videos and just teared up so badly when they tell these players that they've made it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Or the Pro Bowl. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but Charles Woodson's was just amazing. I mean, they had doing a fake interview in his backyard, and they came up. David Baker, that monster of a guy, comes up behind him and tells he's in the hall. And his wife said, "I've never seen him cry, maybe twice, but he was bawling." So I just get so emotional watching this stuff like that because like 380 people or something like that now that have ever been in the
You are in the
Hall of
most
Fame.
exclusive club, and somebody like Woodson. You think about striking the pose. One of those. Everybody wants to strike the Heisman pose, but you usually don't strike it in your biggest game in your senior year when everybody's talking about it. And he was able to do that against Ohio State.
That was
And then-
Desmond Howard, wasn't it?
I believe it was.
Both of 'em?
Yeah, I believe it was both. And then, of course, he won the Super Bowl MVP when he was with the Packers. So
Yeah.
here's a guy who just wins no matter where he goes. I'd like to point out this stat. You've got all these names on here, like you said, Ken Griffey Jr., Charles Woodson, Moses Malone, who had many numbers over the years.
Yeah.
Ricky Henderson. You ready for this stat? I saw this the other day, and I knew 24 was coming this week. If a baseball player started this year and he stole 60 bases, and he stole 60 for the next 22 straight years, he still wouldn't have the record.
He wouldn't catch.
He wouldn't catch
Ricky.
Ricky. He
Wow.
would not catch Ricky. 60 steals. When you think about how awesome Ronald Acuna Jr. was this year, and then say 60 for the next 22 straight years, you're still not making it. That's amazing.
That's pretty incredible.
That's a number that's going to be really tough to beat ever,
Yeah, there are a few records.
even with big bases.
Yeah, there are a few records that are almost unattainable, but that may be one of them.
It's pretty darn close. It's pretty
Yeah.
darn close. Because, once again, he had a couple seasons there where he's going 125, 140. That hasn't been done before. And it'd take a heck of a team. You'd have to play for the Kansas City Royals with Ned Yost, who said, "I want you to run. I don't have a big bopper behind you."
Yeah.
If he was playing for the Yankees now, they knew, hey, we got Soto and Judge coming up. You just stand there on first base and trot around after they hit a home run. So very, very impressive stuff.
So Ricky Henderson would be yours?
Definitely not.
Okay, you going back to Kobe.
No, definitely not going to anybody who split time with numbers. Like I said, he was very accomplished with both numbers, but he was only 24 for 10 years, and the guy who played 10 years isn't worth it.
So you're going Willie too?
Willie Mays. There's
Absolutely.
no doubt about Willie Mays. He is the greatest, probably center fielder. That play in the '54 World Series. They love to show that one where he's going into the no man's land corner at in Boston, and he catches the ball over his
Sure,
shoulder.
was it in Boston?
It was, and you're like, holy crap! People make a big deal when Dave Casper caught a ball over his head, and it wasn't Game 6 of the World Series, with everything on it. But yeah, Willie's amazing.
That's a very clever use of words. Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, Willie Amaze.
But yeah, and don't forget, he left baseball to be in the military.
Yep.
Might only been for 1 year, but if somebody like him came out where he played, let's see, what did he play? He played 2 years and then he only played 34 games of that second year because he went at that point. So he missed a year and a half of time. Could you imagine what
that year and a half.
what jersey sales would be? If Pat Tillman was a good football player who was a great American and died overseas.
Absolutely.
If you had a great athlete like a Ted Williams or a Willie Mays or somebody who stepped up like this, oh my goodness, it would just be incredible,
Unbelievable. It would be, yeah.
Truly unbelievable. And I hate to talk about selling jerseys, but man, would he sell some jerseys?
They would sell some jerseys. That's pretty cool. Larry, who would you go with?
Well, I gotta go with Willie as well.
Yeah.
He's Willie.
Yeah,
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's Bonds' godfather for goodness.
Yeah. Well, I won't hold that against him.
Hey, he did everything he could.
Yeah.
I think Willie and Bobby did everything they could. Barry just kind of went down his different path after
Went
a few
on
years.
his own direction. Yeah. Moses was a good basketball player, but like Robert said, he wore a lot of different numbers
did.
with a lot of different teams. Willie was primarily a Giant, right?
Yes. Well, he was Giant for the first half, and then he was a Met.
Met. Yeah.
So actually, but he was a New York Giant as well. So
Yeah, I was gonna say he played for New York
Before they moved to
before
San
they moved
Francisco.
to San
Yeah.
Francisco.
Yeah.
And then he came back to New York.
To the Mets to
Yeah.
yeah.
To end his career.
just for a couple when
Yeah.
he was late. But you talk about two of the biggest cities and biggest markets in the world, and they both loved him. That's a
Yeah.
hard one. That's a hard one to follow.
Yeah, that's there are a few athletes that are loved by more than one city, and probably certainly not as much as Willie.
660 home runs. What do you want to say? It was number 3 all time before roids broke into
Before
baseball.
Roy's broke into baseball, before Sosa and McGuire and Bonds.
And McGuire, yeah, McGuire and Bonds and Sosa and a couple other people that
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get our last commercial out of the way with American Axes. No, we did American Axes. Brian Bristow with Kennesaw Express Lube.
It's okay. Chuck knew what he was talking about. He was pausing that one on purpose so he could get
Larry back over there in time.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or a hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castrol products.
Thank you, Brian Bristow, Dan Fisher, and Alvin Jameson for all three being sponsors over the last few months of
Absolutely.
Three Guys Who Love Sports, as well as the Owls Who Live Sports, coming up at 7 o'clock tonight, talking all about those Kennesaw State Owls and everything going on over on campus over there. Got one segment left here, and I thought we would talk about what's going on next. What's the next big sports event that you're really looking forward to? Everybody wave bye to Ryan and Caitlin. Thank you, guys.
Bye. Hey, we'll see you guys again.
And we'll see you too. All right. Y'all be good.
I mean, at this point in time, I think I got to say March Madness.
Yeah.
It's not the same as NFL playoffs. Everything is below NFL playoffs, and it's really sad because you go from being so excited to watch every single minute of something to now all of a sudden there's nothing on this weekend.
It's
I don't
horrible.
even want to watch anything.
It's horrible.
It's a tough time.
Yeah.
I know that's what's that new football league? That combination
Of
UFL?
USFL and XFL.
You know, I know everybody's hoping for it, and this is the feeling they're hoping to comfort, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. For me, I tried to get a guy on the show today because we had somebody bail out at the last minute, and he says, "No, I'm heading down to the Daytona 500." Is that a big sport event?
Well, you know, as they like to say, it's the Super Bowl for NASCAR, and they do it to start the season.
If you're a race car fan,
It's the race.
It's the race of the year. It's the start of their season, but it's the race of the year.
Yeah, isn't it kind of silly that they have it at the first race? I mean, to me, you want to build up to something, but
Right, but it's the race that put them on the map, and kudos to Bubba Catfish and the rest of the people in NASCAR who decided we're not going to move it to the end of the season just because it seems to make more sense that way.
well, they try to do a July. It used to be July 4th race, but now I think they do it in August or something like that.
Yeah, they
a
use
second race at
the
Daytona.
Firecracker 400.
Well,
Yeah.
well, they run a lot of races at the Daytona 500. It's only the big one, which is the
The
big
500,
NASCAR. When I was growing up, my grandmother lived in Daytona, right down the road. I went to several Daytona 500s before I knew what I was even going to.
Right.
And things like that. But they run little races throughout the year. It's not like a stadium
Yeah,
just
but
sitting
they have
there.
two big NASCAR events. Yeah.
Yeah, they've added they've tried to add a second one.
Oh, they've been doing that for
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
And they're
oval
trying
is
to-
so big that there's a 9-hole golf course
Inside the
on the
infield.
infield.
Yeah. It is.
a-
It's
you know,
2.5 miles, right?
It's
Is
a
the
2.5
track.
mile circle, which people still think I can see that. No, it's really freaking big. It's way that and Talladega. If you ever get a chance to look at either one of those or Indy,
Pretty impressive.
yeah, just the sheer size is
Yeah.
mind-boggling.
Yeah. So that's coming up next in NASCAR this weekend. I think is Sunday, right? Yeah. Because Joel went
It'll
down
be
for that.
qualifying because there's
No,
always
qualifying's this Thursday night. They have the two Busch races Thursday night.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
they usually have it a week ahead of time. It's a whole week of racing.
Well,
so
yeah, they're
it's
down
a
to
whole
qualifying now.
racing, but it's usually right around President's Day, right around.
I think the race is this Sunday. I might be
Yeah,
wrong,
I
but-
believe you're right.
Yeah. Well, let's look at other sports that are coming up. Of course, the NBA playoffs start.
No, they're after.
They've got 58 games. The Hawks are 58 games in. They
The-
still stink.
Yeah, the NBA playoffs are after March Madness. They don't
Yep.
start till April,
You
May,
got you got the Stanley Cup and
all that.
NBA.
But the next big one is, as you said, the Final Four. Really.
Well, how
That-
about the Sawgrass, TPC Sawgrass? Is that a big event?
The Masters is a big event.
The Masters first
Masters-
weekend in March, in April.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's right after as the Final Four is ending. It's usually
And
the
anytime
Masters.
they go to Doral or something like that, it's cool if you're a sporty. You're like, wow, that's a cool thing. But it's not something that brings others in. The Super Bowl brings others in.
Yeah.
March Madness brings others in. Really not a lot of other things. Other people don't get involved. Ooh, is it the NFL or NBA playoffs? People don't care.
Spike Lee might show up.
Well, but Spike Lee's going to all the other games, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. There's no influx for the biggest thing. And the same thing for the World Series.
Well, I would think that a lot of people show up to the Masters. They just don't show them like they do. I saw a couple of Falcons running backs out there one
No,
time.
I don't mean like show up like that. I just mean like classic non-sports fans.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's the Masters. Turn it on. I love looking at those flowers.
But I know a lot of people that just will watch the Masters. They're not going to watch the TPS Sawgrass. They're not going to watch all these other ones. But
Yeah,
they're going to turn on to the Masters.
The majors.
Yeah.
They'll watch the majors.
And the Masters more than even the majors. Of
Yeah.
the four majors, they'll watch the Masters more than
because it's the
others.
home tournament.
But I mean, this is across the country, I think.
Right.
Yeah.